Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome back to the Mariners franchise here on the channel, here in Season 3 in the ALCS. The Red Sox went on the road in the first couple of games, in games 1 and 2, and stole them. So now we are back in Fenway, and we gotta cover some ground and make it up, because this is a tough team to come back from. So let's get into game 3. Here is a bunt single down the right field line by Mallex Smith. For some reason, Jesus Aguilar does not pick that one up, so we at least start this series off right. So here is Tim Beckham at the plate. He gets a hit to the left side as Porcello gives up 2 hits to start this game already. That brings up Marwin Gonzalez, who is still on a cold streak. He hits a ground ball right into a double play as LeCastro fields that one cleanly and turns 2. But that brings up Paul DeJong in the 4-hole, who's going to hit just a little chopper to third base. And DJ LeMahieu is going to make the out, and no damage done in the first. So that's going to bring us into the bottom of the first inning. I love when I pitch with Jeremy Hellickson. He's become one of my favorite pitchers on this team. Here's DJ LeMahieu, though. He's going to hit one deep to left field, but that one is going to be run down by Mallex Smith on the warning track. So 2 outs here in the inning. Here is Martinez at the plate. He's going to go to opposite field, and that one is going to make it all the way to the wall. And Marwin does come up throwing and does hold JD Martinez to just a double. That's going to bring up Jesus Aguilar. He's going to watch one on the outside part of the plate. And that brings up Xander Bogaerts, who is going to hit just a little ground ball to second base as we flip it to second, and we do get the force out, and we get out of that inning as well. So let's move on to the top of the second inning. Here's Uebiyashi leading it off, but he's going to get walked. So now we got a man on first base. Here's Vogelback at the plate. He hits a missile down the right field line, and that's going to make it all the way to the wall. Uebiyashi is going around third hard and head home, and he is going to be in for the first run of the game, and that feels good because our hitting just could not get going in the first couple of games. So now up comes David Freese, who is going to watch one in the dirt. That one is going to get past the catcher that time. And now we got a man on third base, no outs. This should be an easy run here, but here's David Freese. Watches a pitch right over the middle and strikes out. But that brings up Omar Narvaez, who does muscle one up the middle, and he makes it 2-0 here in the second inning. Not a bad start after the first couple of games. So that brings up J.P. Crawford to the plate. Can he keep it going? But no, he's just going to hit a ground ball to LeCastro, and they are going to turn 2. So let's move this one on to the top of the third inning. You can see Hellickson's pitching pretty well through the first few innings. And here is Mallex Smith, hits one down the line. And that one is going to bounce over the wall for a ground rule double. So that brings up Tim Beckham, who gets a pitch to hit. And that one is going to be clobber Tim Beckham. And that's a homer. And look at this, man. Tim Beckham, I mean, this guy, just amazing. We signed him to an extension last offseason, and he makes it a 4-0 game here on the road. As what a turnaround of the first 2 games. And that brings up Marwin Gonzalez. Can he get turned around? And he does. He hits one up the middle. And man, maybe it just took not facing Chris Sale to get going, but I like what I'm seeing from this offense. So that brings up Paul DeJong to the plate, who's going to swing and miss at an outside slider that time. As that brings up Uebiyashi hitting in the 5-hole. Notorious for hitting home runs as of late, but he hits one up the middle, and that one does keep this third inning going as Vogelback comes to the plate, who is going to just hit one right back at the pitcher, and that was a check swing, but ends up being hit right back to him, and that is a double play. So let's move on to the top of the 6th inning. Here is Uebiyashi at the plate. He's going to hit one down the right field line, and that one is going to get past Leury Garcia as he comes up throwing. But Uebiyashi, with good speed, makes it all the way to third base, and that's a leadoff triple here in the 6th inning. That brings up Vogelback. He's already driven in Uebiyashi once. He makes it twice. 5-0 here on the road, as our team has just brought their bats in this one, and there's still no outs in this inning. That brings up David Freese, who we moved down in the order to kind of give us some offense at the bottom of the lineup, and it seems like everybody else is still hitting well, but look at David Freese. He gets a hit and makes it guys on first and second with no outs. But up comes Omar Narvaez. We do try to sacrifice bunt them over, but that is going to be a force out at second base. So that brings up J.P. Crawford. He gets a high pitch in the zone. He's going to pop this one up, as that brings up 2 outs in the inning, and Malik Smith at the plate, but 2 for 3 in this game. So hitting pretty well on a 3-2 count. He's going to hit a liner, but that is right at DJ LeMahieu, and that situation just did not work out for us. So let's move this one on to the 7th inning. Here's Paul DeYoung at the plate. He's going to hit one deep to right field, and that one is going to sneak into the bullpen for a home run. So Paul DeYoung makes it 6-0 here in the 7th inning, and that was a 2-out shot. And now we are in the driver's seat. So let's check on our pitchers here out of the bullpen. Here's Dan Altavilla in the 7th inning, and he's giving up a hit here to start out the 7th. That brings up the catcher, Alfaro, but he's going to hit a little ground ball to Tim Beckham, and we're going to try to turn 2, but that one is just too slow to turn 2 on, as that brings up Justin Upton. He's going to hit a pop-up in foul territory, and that is going to be an easy out for Beckham, as that brings up Leury Garcia, who can't do anything. Our pitching's looking good, just as good as our hitting is, and we get out of that inning with no damage done. So still in a 6-0 lead here on the road in the 8th inning. Here's Omar Narvaez leading us off with the hit. Man, we cannot go an inning without a hit, it seems like, in this one. So that brings up Tim Beckham. Already hit a homer, 3 for 4 in this game. He's going to go to opposite field on this one, and that one might have some carry, and it sneaks over the wall. Look at that. It curves around the foul pole. You usually don't see that from the right side of the plate, but that one sneaks over for Tim Beckham's 2nd home run of the game. So now we move into the 9th inning. Uebiyashi at the plate, still hitting the ball hard. Man, I love Uebiyashi. Just as this season has gone on, he just makes solid contact every single time. That brings up Vogelback, who's going to hit one deep to center field, and that one is going to sneak over the wall in center, and that is a bomb for Vogelback. It's 10-1. Who saw this coming? After not even putting up pretty much any runs in the first couple games, it's 10-1. As here comes Justice Sheffield. Here we give him some late innings of work, and he is going to get in and shut it down as we actually go on to win Game 3, and we recover nicely, getting 10 runs on the board as Tim Beckham goes 4 for 5. 2 home runs. What a game for him. We actually had 3 players that actually got 4 hits in this game, including Beckham, Vogelback, and Uebiyashi, as Uebiyashi went 4 for 4 as well. So now let's hop into Game 4. David Price, who's actually dropped in their rotation to the 4 spot, but he did have a good season. 105 whip, 192 strikeouts to 53, and it resulted in a 12-7 record. So let's start this one out in the top of the first. Continuing the hit parade from Game 3, David Freese is back at the top of the lineup here as he starts it out with a 1-out double, as that brings up Domingo Santana here. 2-1 count. He's hitting in the 3-hole because Marwin Gonzalez is just not hitting well, and look, he takes advantage. That's already a run across the plate here in Game 4. It's 1-0. So that brings up Paul DeYoung, hitting not that well. 2 for 12 in this ALCS, but looking to get going in this one. Here on a 3-2 count, he goes opposite field, and that one's got some carry on it, and that one is going to make it into the seats. It's 3-0. What a start for this team on the road. It's 3-0 here as we just continue to hit the ball well. But that brings up Uebiyashi, who's been hitting the ball really, really well, but not that time. He's going to ground out to the Castro at second base. So let's move this one on to the bottom half of this inning. It's a matchup of the lefties. Yusei Kikuchi versus David Price. But here's DJ LeMahieu at the plate with one out. He's going to hit one hard at Tim Beckham. He can't handle it, and he is going to beat that one out at first base. So now that brings up JD Martinez to the plate. He is going to watch one in the dirt, and DJ LeMahieu is going to advance on that one. So now the at-bat continues. JD Martinez, he's going to hit one hard down the left field line, and Mallex Smith is going to let that one drop in front of him. But now they got guys on the corners here with Jesus Aguilar. And he's going to strike out, swinging on the outside, actually looking on the outside splitter, as that brings up Xander Bogaerts. Can we get out of this jam? 3-2 count, 2 outs, and he's going to fly out to right field. Marwin Gonzalez camps under that one as we hold on to this lead. So let's move this one on to the second inning. Here's Wellington Castillo with a broken bat, and he's going to beat that one out with 2 speed. I thought I would never see the day when a 2-speed runner beats out an infield single. So now that brings up J.P. Crawford. He hits a ground ball up the middle, but he is going to beat out that double play on the fielder's choice. As that brings up Mallex Smith, now hitting in the 9-hole. He's going to go to opposite field, and that one is going to drop right in front of Benintendi. As now we got guys on first and second. The hits continue. Here's Tim Beckham. 0 for 1 in this game, but he's going to hit one hard up the middle, and that one is going to drop in center field right before Justin Upton. I don't know why he didn't keep running after that one, but he lets it drop in front of him. So that brings up David Freese, who gets a nice pitch to hit, and that is going to be a sacrifice fly to deep center field, as both of our runners are going to advance on this one, but it's 4-0. The runs just keep piling on. So now here is Domingo Santana up to the plate with 2 outs, but he is going to hit just a chopper to short, and that one is going to be a force out at second base. So let's move this one on to the 5th inning here. The hits continue. Marwin Gonzalez getting in on this one, finally possibly breaking this slump that he's been in, and that is a 2-out hit up the middle. So they do decide to pull David Price finally as they bring in Ryan Brazier, who's actually not even having a bad year. 3.33 ERA out of the bullpen in over 40 games. But he's going to face Uebiyashi, who gets a pitch to hit. And he's going to drive it deep. And you can't make that mistake versus Uebiyashi. He will not miss. That's another home run for him. It's 6-0 here in Game 4. So now that brings up J.P. Crawford now into the 8th inning. And our pitching has just shut the Red Sox down here at home, and that's been the reoccurring theme. Home teams just can't hit the ball. So now here comes Mallex Smith to the plate, who's going to watch that one. That one was in the zone, and the manager does not like that one for the Red Sox. Nothing is going their way. So that brings up Tim Beckham, hitting leadoff still. He's going to hit one to the center fielder, and that one's going to sneak past LeCastro at second. Wow, I don't know what LeCastro is doing, but we've seen time and time again in this series, he's made error after error. And look what happens. We continue to hit the ball well. David Freese with the hit to center field. It's 8-0 here, and there's still no outs here in the 8th inning. Guys on the corners. So now they bring in some relief out of the pen, and that's Will Harris. Only appeared in 3 games this postseason. As now that brings up Domingo Santana hitting in the 3-hole. Remember, taking the place of Marwin. He hits a hard liner to the third base, and that one is going to be caught by LeMahieu. But that brings up Paul DeYoung, who did go deep earlier. He gets a pitch to hit, and he puts a drive into it. 11 runs on the board for the Mariners in this one. Back-to-back 10-run games, and wow, what a turn of events for the Mariners, as it looks like we are just in the driver's seat to tie this series up at 2 apiece, as it just continues as Uebiyashi hits one up the middle. Man, he is red hot. That brings up Wellington Castillo, who also puts a jolt into one. That one is off the green monster. Justin Upton does not play it right, and that makes it a 12-0 game here Wow, what a change of culture here for this offense. I swear, I mean, we are just hitting the ball too well. And it just seems like Boston just does not have an answer as Leury Garcia strikes out that time. And that brings up LeCastro, who is going to strike out. And wow, we tie this series up at 2 apiece, as that is back-to-back 20-hit games for the Mariners. We put 10 runs on the board in the first one, 12 in this one, 22 hits. They even got 8 hits. I mean, that's not too bad, but they didn't score anything in this one. They get a big donut on the board. But wow, this Mariners team is just living up to the bill here in the playoffs. And wow, what a game from a guy like Paul DeJong. I mean, 2 home runs, and that's back-to-back games where we had 2 players with 2 home runs. And wow, 5 RBIs in this one. And well-deserved. He gets the player of the game. As, man, I'm loving this offense. If we can keep this going, nobody's stopping us in our quest to that World Series title. We'll see. But that's going to do it here in this episode as we tie this game up at the series up at 2 apiece, going into the final 3 games of this series, if necessary. Who knows? So hit subscribe, hit that like button. Next episode will end the ALCS, as we will find out if we will be going to the World Series. So that's going to do it here. Hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.